Hey y'all! Amanda here with your full recap of episode 3 of the Qualifiers for American Ninja Warrior Season 13. As usual, it was another great episode, in my opinion, with the only exception being the inexplicable digestions of the top ninjas in the field. I know I always blame the editors, but I'm sure they're not the ones making the final decisions. No show would ever cut their biggest drawing athletes. Whoever is making the decisions obviously has an agenda to push, but it's us fans that suffer. Regardless, as the show played out, I became more and more pleased with my previous prediction video. Although the show does a ton of things I cannot explain, I think I had a pretty good read on the third night of qualifiers, based on the few pictures we were given, plus that one that had been bothering me since the first promo, and the hit started with the 6-obstacle course. I did have the order and names correct for the setup of the course, but now have much more info on the new pretzel twist. For a full description of the other obstacles and how to maneuver through them, you can check out my previous prediction video. First up, we had the shrinking steps. That was followed by overpass. The split decision, episode 3, was between domino effect or the spinning log, which led to the all-new air surfer. Then, it was our first time seeing the pretzel twist in full and in action. Surprisingly, I had a bit of this correct in advance. I remember seeing a promo for the season before it started, and when I saw a brief scene of an obstacle and an athlete that I did not recognize, it stood out. The scene was so brief, in fact, that the rest was just guesswork on how it would operate. I was close on a few predictions, but now we see that there are 3 poles that swing back and forth, as predicted, and the steering wheels, as I was calling them, were actually the pretzels. Upon closer inspection, we can see that the pretzels have been painted to look like they have grains of salt sprinkled throughout. The sides of the edges that athletes must hold on to are kind of hook-shaped and rest on a peg. The athlete must jump or kip the arm of the pretzel up and over, releasing it, causing it to start swinging. Then, they must gain momentum to hook the arm of the pretzel onto a second hook and then reach across to a second pretzel and repeat the task. The last pretzel swings to the landing platform. And we end with the choice of the warped wall or mega wall. There were 73 runs in all, 41 of which were shown to some degree, and 32 that were completely cut. Of those, only the top 30 advanced, as well as the top 5 women, and will be moving on to the semifinals. Here are your results of the night. Our first run of the night was Hector Gomez, a wrestler that goes by Hector Perfecto, and I believe this was his debut run. He managed to keep his feet above the water after tripping off the last domino on domino effect, and almost completed air surfer, but jumped the board a little short, and the right edge slid off the step, ending his season. Casey Boudier is a 4-time Team US Winter Games speed skater who also showed his balance as he saved himself from a fall on domino effect. He made it through air surfer and gave us our first look at the pretzel twist, where he was unable to kip the second pretzel loose and his grip gave out. He did make it there fast enough to take 25th position on the leaderboards. Our first digested run was freestyle motocross rider Zach DiPaolo. He missed the 9-foot transfer to the trolley bar on overpass considerably and hit the water. Competitive salsa dancer Rochambeau Delcine was next to be digested. He almost had to do the worm to save himself after a near wipeout on domino effect, but could not save himself after he hit the wall low, attempting to dismount from the last step on air surfer. Our next full run was rookie Megan Budway, a classically trained singer who teaches music to kids. Devin Harrelson, her training partner, was on the sidelines cheering her on. She was smooth grabbing the trolley bar in motion on overpass and fast across domino effect. She was just a little short on her jump to the last step on air surfer, but was able to make it there fast enough to take 3rd place on the women's board. Next up was one half of the Tower of Power Bros, Brandon Myers. He and fellow firefighter Dan Palizzi debuted on Season 5 and have competed in every season since, except for Brandon missing Season 6. If I had have known either of them were running, I would have guessed the other would be running the same night. And they did. The Towers of Power have both been cursed with falling on balance obstacles, and Brandon does not seem to have been able to get that superstition out of his head since. I begged and screamed at the screen for Brandon to reconsider the spinning log, as I figured he would have psyched himself out on either obstacle, but would have a better chance of recovering on domino effect. Personally, I think it's because his young son said pull, he could not turn back. Maybe it's because of the poles they slide down at the fire station. Regardless, Brandon hesitated for a long time, and I think we all knew it was over before he even took a step. He spun out and into the water, but his heartbreak really got to me. He felt like a disappointment to his family, and the constant fails were getting too much for him. Zuri begged him to reconsider, but Brandon is now seriously debating retirement from ninja competition. I actually really like the Tower of Power Bros now, and I hope Dan and the rest of the ninja community can support him enough to keep fighting and come back. Next to be digested was Dr. David Daniels, who made it as far as split decision before he fell between the third and fourth boards on Domino Effect. Then, three-time ninja vet and podcast host Kara Mack had her run digested. She interviews female ninjas on her show, Ninja Babes, and looked strong throughout the first three obstacles. Unfortunately, she just jumped the board on Air Surfer too close to the edge on the first step before making the transfer and fell off into the water. Luckily, she was able to take fourth spot on the women's board. Bob Reese makes fail videos online, but this parkour athlete looked great on the course from what we saw. He did a backflip off overpass and made it as far as pretzel twist, but could not make the first transfer and fell. Though this rookie had his run digested, he was able to take 22nd spot on the leaderboard, and I personally hope we get to see his run in full at the semifinals. He looked like a natural from what we were shown. Next up was our first teen competitor of the night, and 16-year-old Owen Dyer came with a gimmick. Inspired by their balance, Owen and his supporters donned flamingo hats, because who wouldn't want to see a guy wearing a flamingo hat? His real inspiration was his little brother Hayes, who I would expect to see on the show one day in the future. Owen was fast to Air Surfer, where he made me nervous when he landed the board very near to the edge on the third step. He was able to make it through, and didn't stop there. He became the first athlete we saw that night, not only to complete the pretzel twist, but he also became our first finisher of the night, hitting his first buzzer with a time of 2:23.13 and taking fourth place on the leaderboards. He too became very emotional after all his hard work paid off, and said the three most important things in his life were all there with him: his friends and family, Jesus Christ, and American Ninja Warrior. Christine Carlson is a postal worker whose run was digested. She missed grabbing the trolley handle when attempting to lash a cross overpass. Then, pilot Landon Nago not only had his run digested, but bent his leg backwards, landing hard after Domino Effect. He made it to Air Surfer, but overjumped the transfer to the third board and was out. Alyssa Barcelona made her debut season 11 and inspired husband Cole Reeves to compete this season with her. A former gymnast, she caught the trolley bar in motion easily on overpass, but just after the hosts tell us about Alyssa having 5 knee surgeries, she landed hard on one knee after Domino Effect, but bounced right back up and kept going. She made me nervous when she landed uneven twice on Air Surfer, but made it all the way through and to the pretzel twist, locking up the first pole, but was unable to hold on to the backswing. She also took top spot on the women's board and 27th place overall. Next up was Alyssa's husband Cole Reeves, who had his debut run digested. He was able to grab the trolley handle on overpass, but his hands gave out and he hit the water. Ben Whitlow is a 21-year-old farmer who seemed fast through the first 4 obstacles from what we were shown. Ben was invited to compete on his first season last year, thanks to Booty Cawthorn, but this year his run was digested. After swinging on the first pretzel on pretzel twist, he somehow managed to hook the first pretzel back on the original peg, and the jolt from the sudden stop caused Ben's hands to peel off and land back first into the water. He did make it there fast enough to take 20th position, advancing him to the semifinals. Brad Giles is an advocate and giving back to his community, as well as being a healthcare business owner who helps children with disabilities. I would love to see him team up with fellow ninja Tegan Rubel, the ninja who created the nonprofit organization Overcoming Obstacles. My mom liked him instantly, and it was hard not to. It must have been the good he put out in the world coming back to him on the run, as he was shaky up the shrinking steps, and his hands almost peeled off the last handle on overpass. He landed hard on his knees, crossing Domino Effect, and had hard landings, jumping his 185-pound frame across Air Surfer. He was able to lock the first pretzel into place, but could not hold on to the second when he tried to make the transfer. Brad took 23rd place on the leaderboards in this, his rookie run. My stomach absolutely dropped when I saw that Michelle Warnke Burma had her run digested, and I was right to have been worried. Michelle slipped off the last board on domino effect and smashed into the wall, sending her back into the water. Heartbreak again. Any ninja, any obstacle, any time. 17-year-old Elena Borges had her run digested when nearly the same thing happened. She too slipped off the last board on domino effect, but it flipped horizontally, catching her briefly. She tried to steady herself and jump for the landing, but was short and still ended up hitting the water. Not surprisingly, Booty Cawthorn had his run digested, but he made it to the 19th run shown that night. Booty is a 52-year-old pine tree farmer, so naturally, he went for the spinning log, but he twisted his ankle during the run-up and it sent him off balance before he even started. Austin Hare is a former pro wakeboarder and rookie who trains with R.J. Roman. His wife Lisa was a former ninja, but now deals with chronic pain flare-ups due to a disease and is currently pregnant, thus keeping her from competing this season. Austin was smooth as he rubbed the trolley bar in motion on overpass and sailed across domino effect. He made it through air surfer, and I really liked that he switched his hold while swinging on the first pretzel to avoid the backlash of the pole locking into place. Austin hit his first buzzer at a time of 2:39.62 and took 7th place on the leaderboards. Vinny Tapia made his debut 3 years ago, 4 months after suffering a heart attack. Monday, his run was digested when he missed the lache on overpass. Heather Wessinger specializes in implanting pacemakers and as the girlfriend of Dan Palizzi, is an honorary member of the Towers of Power. Her run was digested after she missed catching the last step on Air Surfer. Heather still managed to take 5th spot on the women's board. Dan Palizzi was up next and had his run digested as well. From what we saw, he was quick up the shrinking steps and face planted off domino effect. He was way short on his attempt up the mega wall, but still managed to hit a buzzer with a time of 3:04.96, taking 9th place overall. Bryce Buckland is a 21-year-old and possible rookie who dedicated his run to his dad, who passed away almost a year to the day of this episode airing. 2 of the members of Cheap Trick, Bryce's dad's favorite band, sent a video tribute, which I thought made Bryce too emotional and would make his run more difficult. He looked controlled through the first 3 obstacles, and though he landed unevenly on the 3rd step of Air Surfer, it was his landing on the 4th step that caused his hands to give out. 3-time vet Michael Johnson not only had his run digested, but it was also joined in progress. He was late across the broken bridge, but kicked the last step during his transfer on Air Surfer, and his foot got between the track and the board, causing him to fall into the water. Then, another 2 of my favorite ninjas had their runs digested. The Maker Ninja and 4-time vet, Kevin Carbone, was the first to be digested, where he missed the mega wall considerably, but was able to hit a buzzer with a time of 2:33.09, taking 5th spot on the leaderboards. Then, the Dream Chaser, Tyler Gillette, who has been submitting audition tapes since he was 14, had his run digested. The superfan appeared for his 5th season and took his time throughout the first few obstacles. So much so that his friends asked if he was feeling alright. He said he was, and that he was just saving his strength for the mega wall, where he came up just short, having his fingers touch the edge. He was still able to hit a buzzer at a time of 4:02.22, taking 12th position overall. I was not surprised to see Tyler run the same night as Kevin. I still cannot wrap my head around some of the runs that are being digested, but just wait, it gets worse. Brett Hernandez-Strong is a 19-year-old rookie who has been a fan of the show for 10 years. This camp counselor, who trains with Devin Harrelson, wanted to be Rookie of the Year, and so far, I'd say he is. He sailed through the first 3 obstacles, and though he looked a little uneven with his landings on Air Surfer, managed to make it through that too. He was smooth from the first to the 2nd pretzel, but made me nervous on his last transfer, but still was able to make it through. Then, at 5:06, the rookie attempted the mega wall, and made it, making him the shortest ninja to ever complete a mega wall. It was an incredible run, all the way through, and Brett is a very likable ninja. Maybe it's the American headband and the orange pants, or the way he positions his hips when he builds momentum before a transfer, but Brett kinda reminds me of Drew Dreschel. He will be one to watch in the future for sure. Brett's training partner, Devin Harrelson, returned for his 7th season, only to have his run digested. He took his traditional selfie at the start of the course, and made it as far as the pretzel twist, but couldn't grip the last pretzel. He was able to make it there fast enough to take 15th spot on the leaderboard. He was on the bubble last year, and just missed out on advancing, due to Joe Moravsky's run. Max Feinberg is a rookie who plays trombone in his school band. He wore a pink ribbon to honor his mother, who was fighting breast cancer, but his run was still digested. He yelled at how much fun he was having on the course before hitting his first buzzer at a time of 2:35.42, taking 6th spot overall. The Mermaid Ninja Charity LeBlanc returned for her 3rd season and was last week's sneak peek run. She landed on her knees leaving domino effect, but bounced right back up. The preview cut when she had a hard landing after dismounting the air surfer, leaving the cliffhanger of whether she could recover or not. She was able to pull herself up, but then, at 5.2, noted how high the jump was to the first pretzel, and though she was able to grab the edges, her hands gave out and she hit the water. She did take 2nd spot on the women's board and 28th position overall. Then, in one of the most upsetting digestion portions yet this season, 2 of the most outstanding runners from last year were barely shown. The top rookie from last year, 20-year-old Amir Malik, returned and ripped up the course. Too bad we barely saw it. He flew all the way to the warped wall, beating the current time by 30 seconds, hitting a buzzer at a time of 1:51.11. Since he broke the buzzer last year, he was extra gentle this time. Then, one of the fastest runners from Season 12, RJ Roman had his 4th-season run digested. He was even faster through the course, from the snippets we were shown, as he had time to attempt the mega wall and unfortunately fail, but still hit a buzzer, taking fastest time of the night at 1:39.84. RJ took top time of the night, and Amir took 2nd place. My prediction, and hope, is that they both do amazing in the semifinals, and we see both incredible runs in full. I could see both men heading to the Vegas finals, and either of them winning a safety pass in the semis. And as a side note, most big-name, veteran ninjas, highlighted at the beginning and throughout the show, had their runs digested. One of the reasons for so many runs being digested, of course, is due to the airing of personal backstories. For those who follow my ninja videos will know, I have mixed feelings about this. I do want to be caught up on our returning veterans, and as I predicted in my last video, Nick Hansen did end up running the same night as Grant McCartney. I do like seeing their continued friendship throughout the years, but when the video took a twist, where Grant almost drowned under ice, I was so mad. From the video shown, it might not have been as dramatic as we were led to believe, but still, ice diving is no joke. Sometimes, I get the sickening feeling that a stupid stunt is really going to get him hurt one day, if not worse. I was pretty upset when Grant's run started, but after I watched it a second time, he actually did seem more serious about his run, which was a great thing to see. He looked fast and focused through the first 2 obstacles, and only stopped for a short dance to make his split decision. I had thought both Grant and Nick looked like they lost weight, but just as I was thinking how hard the landings might be for him on Air Surfer, supporting all that sudden dead weight, he overshot his first jump, and not only landed in the water, but also on the bubble of whether he would advance. They announced that this was Grant's shortest qualifying run, but I think that's because he did not waste time dancing and playing it up for the cameras. He looked to be making really good time, actually. What a shame. Nick Hansen was up next, and had new fiancée Joanne on screen cheering for him. Nick looked to be taking his time through the first 2 obstacles, and showed perfect balance on domino effect, having jumped across broken ice for practice in Alaska. He made it 1 step further than Grant, but made the same mistake by overshooting the board to the left and sliding into the water. Nick, too, is now on the bubble of not advancing. This would make it the first time for both athletes not to qualify to the semifinals since their respective debuts. Enzo Wilson was the season's youngest competitor, having just turned 15, and also appeared on American Ninja Warrior Jr., but that wasn't enough to spare his debut run from being digested. From what we saw, he looked fast and confident throughout the course, and burst into tears after hitting his first buzzer at a time of 2:19.92, taking 3rd spot overall. And if cutting a kid's rookie run wasn't bad enough, 10-time vet Brett Sims was next to have his run digested. He looked to be steady across the course and was not intimidated by the younger competitors. Although he missed the mega wall by a hand, he did hit a buzzer with a time of 3:37.52, taking 11th position. And our last full run of the night was Vance Walker. This was the young ninja I saw in the unknown obstacle picture that later turned out to be the pretzel twist, so I figured he'd get pretty far. But not having followed American Ninja Warrior Jr., I did not recognize him as the young athlete that won both seasons of the juniors. They showed video of him practicing a 23-foot warped wall, stating he was going for the mega wall tonight. I've actually seen a few ninjas make it up the 23-foot warped wall, including my Flip Rodriguez. I wonder if we'll have another extending warped wall in an All-Star edition. Vance waited for the trolley bar to pass, and although I knew he was making it past Air Surfer, I was still nervous when he landed unevenly. Obviously, he made it through, and was so unfazed by the course, he still had the presence of mind to answer Akbar when he asked Matt if he thought Vance would go for the mega wall. Vance said he was, and he did. And at 5'5" and 16 years of age, Vance became the youngest and shortest athlete to ever hit a mega wall buzzer. He got there in 3:07:32, taking 10th spot and keeping his perfect record of having never failed on an obstacle. We then ended with Akbar's picks of cut runs to show and had Josh Wag, a rookie who goes by the name of Death Metal Ninja. He made it as far as the first pretzel before cartwheeling backwards into the water. He did make it there fast enough to take 19th spot, advancing him to the semifinals. Rabbit rescue advocate Jessica Helmer did run tonight, and even during a highlighted cut run, her run was still cut when we focused on Zuri, who was bunny sitting and has clearly never held a rabbit before. Apparently, she was out on overpass. Tony Miles is a professional poker player who made his debut season 11. He made a $5,000 bet with a fellow ninja that he could advance last time, and this time he bet $75,000 that he could hit a buzzer. Both times he did not complete the course, but this season, though he fell from what looked like the first pretzel, he made it there fast enough to take 29th spot. So, those were the 41 runs they showed, to some degree, but as always, there's so much more. Other athletes that advanced, but had the runs cut in full, include rookie Wee Wee Quinn, who is a rock climber from Shanghai. He made it as far as pretzel twist, but fast enough to take 13th spot on the leaderboards. Nico Gentry, who made his debut season 9, had 2 of his 3 previous runs cut. This year made it 3 cut runs, although he made it to the pretzel twist fast enough to take 14th spot, advancing him to the semifinals. I was unable to find much info out on rookie Kenny Tran, but it looks like he's a trainer at Level Up Ninja Gym in North Carolina, but I could be wrong. He took 16th position, making it to pretzel twist fast enough to advance. Shaquille Leach is a real estate agent and looks to be a rookie who took 17th place by making it to pretzel twist fast enough to advance. Deshaun Harris returned for his 4th season, and this year marks the first time he advanced to the semifinals. Deshaun is a PE teacher and made it to the pretzel twist fast enough to take 18th place on the leaderboards. Josiah Singleton is a golf course worker who made his debut season 11. That year, he made it to the city finals and was invited to participate in season 12 before modifications had to be made. Monday, he made it to pretzel twist fast enough to take 21st position. Todd Borgios is a physical therapist who debuted in season 5. The Cajun Cowboy returned for his 7th season and made it as far as pretzel twist, but still took 24th spot, sending him to the semifinals. Glenn Davis made his debut season 11, although he was a course tester season 9. He was invited back last year before modifications had to be made. Monday, he made it to pretzel twist and took 26th position on the leaderboards. Lenny Lopez is a rookie from Puerto Rico who made his debut Monday. He only made it to Air Surfer, but because of Grant and Nick's failures on the same obstacle, Lenny was able to hang on to 30th spot, sending him to the finals. He's the only male athlete to advance this episode, having only made it to the 4th obstacle. Other athletes to have their runs cut include I was unable to find out anything on Andy Glickman, but he fell on the shrinking steps. Liba Yofi is an Orthodox Jew and mother of 4 who shied away from sports due to her religion. Through her family's encouragement, she made her debut Monday night, but fell on the shrinking steps. Rachel Brown is a young rookie, who I believe is 18. She has been training for ninja courses and winning since she was 14. Monday, she went out on the shrinking steps. Whitney Miller is a young rookie who had sprained her ankle during practice and admitted on social media that although she was pain-free, her ankle was swollen and she had wobbled running up the shrinking steps. It sounds like she took a second swing from the rope and her toe grazed the water, ending her season. Shane Scudder, nicknamed the Ninja Nugget, debuted season 11, where he made Akbar's cuts after falling on the shrinking steps. Monday, his run was cut when he went down on the shrinking steps again. I was unable to find any info on Devon Har, but he went out on overpass. Julia Bainbridge was the female champion in the 15 to 17-year-old age group at the National Ninja League Finals in 2019 and now competes amongst the adult women, usually taking a medal. Monday may have been her debut, where she went out on overpass. Lily McCoy started with Modus Ninja Gym as a student at 16 and quickly became a coach. She will be studying sports psychology at Liberty University this fall, and Monday, she went down on overpass. This was probably her debut. I was unable to find any info on Josh Heeman-Akar, but he went down on overpass. Jenny Page is an artist who poured the pain over the loss of her son into her art and strives to inspire others with her outlook on life of doing something small every day. Her drive propelled her to American Ninja Warrior, and Monday, she may have made her debut, where she went out on overpass. Will Wong is an air conditioner contractor and father who made his debut Monday night, having never seen the show in full. Will says friends would send him highlights of the show, encouraging him to try out. Will made it to overpass, and his run was cut in full. Erin Kundolf works for the Educational Research Center Urban Institute and made her debut season 11. She may have been invited back last year, but did not attend due to modifications being made. Monday, she went out on overpass. I was unable to find out much info on Jazzy Giral, but it looks like he's self-employed, and Monday may have been his debut. He went out on overpass. Rachel Beth Drake is a younger ninja who competes in local competitions, including UNX. Monday may have been her debut, and she went out on overpass. I was unable to find much info on Roger Anderson, but Monday may have been his debut, where he went out on overpass. I was unable to find much info on Melissa Sevenson, but she made her debut season 11, where she fell on the shrinking steps. She was invited to be on season 12, but did not participate due to modifications being made. Monday, she went out on overpass. I was unable to find any info on Daniel Jeffrey, but he went out on domino effect. Silas Hamilton III is an Army veteran and fitness instructor. He fell on domino effect. Bridlin is a police sergeant, making his third appearance on the show, so to speak. He made his debut season 7, where he went out on the second obstacle, and returned season 9, where he made it to the third obstacle. Monday, he fell on the third obstacle again, making it to domino effect. Andrew Naquin is a coach at the Cajun Twisters gym in Louisiana. This is his third year competing, and he made it as far as domino effect. As predicted, Brett's wife, Grace Sims, who was on the sidelines cheering him on earlier, did get a chance to run the course. I had assumed we would see Brett's run in full and Grace's run digested, but instead his run was digested and hers was cut in full. Grace debuted in season 7 and competed every year except last. Monday, she made it to domino effect. Faith Foister is a gymnastics coach at High Point Gymnastic Academy who made her debut season 11. She was invited back last year before modifications had to be made. Monday, she went out on the spinning log. Chad Thornhill is a university professor and rookie who has been attempting to get on the show for the past 7 years. Monday, he went out on the spinning log. So that's it. Those are all the results for episode 3 of Qualifiers for season 13 of American Ninja Warrior. I know there's a lot to get through in these early episodes, but as we can all understand, everyone wants a chance to take on the course and to become the next American Ninja Warrior. We only have 2 more qualifiers to get through, and then we head to the semifinals. So hold on tight, as the run should get more intense and the heartbreak more agonizing as we inch closer to Vegas and maybe even the return to Mount Midoriyama. Thank you for sticking with me through the season, and again, please feel free to leave your comments on the show so far and who you'll be cheering for to take it all. Watch American Ninja Warrior every Monday night on NBC. Check local listings for details. And until next time, enjoy the show!